So it looks like we will be witnessing Don Quixote Doflamingo versus Trafalgar Law.
Ooh, this is a very interesting one. Congrats again for Fullbringer and Valor J to be making it into the finals. Our last two undefeated. Winner of this will be the winner of the entire tournament and grab the sealed OP01 Booster Box. So, looks like Doffy is going to play the Perona. Turn 1 Perona, look at top 5, see what's available.
Yep, and again, this is the dream scenario for all Doffy players, being able to see that Perona turn 1, if not Doffy turn 2. So really good. Let's see how he decides to stack it. We've seen some masterful gameplay so far from Fullbringer DC earlier on in the day in terms of how he stacks his deck. So let's see if he continues to do so here in the finals.
So still looking at it, still trying to see what is there.
I just love the Doflamingo Funko Pop in the back.
Listen, we've seen Fullbringer at least 3 times during these matches, right? And
Yeah,
I think the Funko Pop is giving him luck. Doffy is looking over him.
I think you're right. I think that's the key to any tournament is to just have your character, your leader, as a Funko Pop and bring it with you. That's the play. Okay, so we finished stacking our deck. Turn passes over to Law. Law is immediately going to swing into Doflamingo here. Let's see if he decides to take the hit or not. It's really early, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just decides to take the hit. But he's thinking it through. He's thinking it through. Obviously, Law here having 3 Dawn. We'll see what he decides to do. He decides to block or counter with the Doflamingo from hand, which is quite interesting. Then leads the Trafalgar Law to play the Nico Robin here on turn 2.
Yep, and then turn passes. That Nico Robin is a bit of a problem for such low-costed, characters such as, or low-powered characters such as Blue.
Yep.
Had some technical difficulties there because my screen just like went crazy, so apologies for that.
Yeah, it happened on my screen too. I was like, oh.
So yeah, let's see what Doffy does. Is going to attach 2 onto here. I'm smelling the leader ability coming into play.
Yep. So that's going to go to face here.
And then +1. So, reveal.
Ooh, my boy! That's my boy right there, the Marshall D Teach.
Marshall D Teach in order to take that Nico Robin off the board. We just talked about how problematic it can be. So this is great value for the Doffy player to get rid of a problematic character and get a life off of already a weak-ish life state, right?
Yeah,
and we'll play the Perona.
Really, really good. I guess that's why he also didn't mind ditching the Doflamingo, because he's like, okay, I have Perona, it's less of a cost. I already know that I stack my deck to get the Marshall D Teach. And it's really good to get that Marshall D Teach here, right? It sets back the Law player 1 turn in a way, right?
For sure.
So can't complain. So 1 Dawn attached to Law here, going to be swinging 6k, and I would assume he's going for the Marshall D Teach here. But again, we don't know for certain. Let's see what exactly he's targeting.
Yeah, no blockers either, so we'll just take that hit.
Yeah. And then we just get a beige as well as a Nico Robin back on board. And then the turn will pass back over to Doflamingo.
You know, it'd be very mean if Doffy did stack another Marshall D Teach into the top deck.
And then just spins back to Nico Robin again.
Yeah, because, I mean, if he saw it there, right, I don't imagine that that's an awful play, right?
Right.
Because it gets rid of that Nico Robin.
Yeah. And again, we just talked about it. It sets it back a little bit more, right? And that's what you need against this Law. You don't. The longer you could delay the room Shambles technologies, then you're sitting pretty.
So is grabbing 2 Dawn. Is it going on to Doffy? It is. So that is a 7k attack going in. And seems to be debating. Oh, it does not activate the ability, but Law does lose the life.
Yeah. Very, very interesting, but we've talked about it before in previous rounds. Law is fine going down to about 2 life or so. Now we're going to see him start playing defense, but here's the Jim Bay. I love this Jim Bay. Spinning back to the bottom of the deck. Such a good card.
Yeah, I mean, this is really great from Dofy's standpoint of finding all of the control elements, right?
Exactly. We talked about potentially stacking another Marshall D Teach. Well, if you don't have that, what else can you have? You have the Jinbei, right? Which in some cases is even better because you're spinning it to the bottom of the deck. So say goodbye to that Nico Robin. Of course, Law now having a ton of Dawn to play with. Now the question is, does he have a ton of tiny bodies to flood the board? So he's gonna start off his turn with attacking with the Law, and it's going to get countered by discarding the Virgo from hand. And here comes Blocker Killer, the Blocker Killer. There we go. And there comes another Blocker Killer.
I mean, we might just well call him Blocker.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, and so he does have the small bodies to flood the board, as I was just talking about. He now has 3 blockers on board, 2 of them allowing him to draw when blocked. So let's see how he decides to play this up.
All right, so it's now Dofy's turn. Dofy taking a look, trying to figure out what Dawn combination gets him to, whittle down that Law just a little bit. Does have 3 blockers, so that is a little bit intimidating.
Yeah. But we have seen before, it is definitely possible to just whittle down those blockers one by one. So we'll see if it can be done here.
Yeah, definitely not the first time that Fullbringer has encountered a blocker-heavy board state.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like he's going to attach it down to Perona here maybe and just swing at the leader. Oh, no, he goes
over into Jinbei. Maybe. And confirmed, attached on the Jinbei, that has 3 additional Dawn onto him. Does just get blocked, but because of the killer blocker's ability, Law does get the draw.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to find a little bit of that gas.
Yeah. And I think if you're Doflamingo here, like, you're fine with this. Like, the way you look at it is you have to get through these blockers at some point. So, yeah, of course he gets to draw now, but, like, you have to deal with it. Because if not, then we already know, like, if Kid comes out, then it's going to be a problem, right? So... Oh, ooh, and there's the other Marshall D Teach.
Kind of wild, right?
Yeah. Okay, so with 1 Dawn attached to the Doflamingo here, it's going to go into leader. He's going to have to discard the 2K counter Luffy from hand. And, we were talking about how before, like, the previous Law player were like, this is, like, the perfect, like, dream start. Yeah. I feel like this is a really good start for Doflamingo, right? We're almost at the late game, and we haven't seen a single room Shambles. Like, this is a really, really good start.
Yeah, I mean, and Dofy has honestly just flooded the board, not even with its ability, but just by playing cards from hand.
Yeah. So it does look like the Jinbei does get KO'd by the Trafalgar Law. Looks like he's tapping a bunch. We know that Kid's going to be coming out here now, kind of like what we just discussed. And now there's double blockers on board.
All right, so this is where the matchup really gets tricky for Dofy, because does he have the firepower to swing over that... that 8-cost Kid, right? If he has a Mihawk in hand, he can. We know he's already sacrificed one of his Virgos.
Yes.
So we'll see what he has coming up. But he does have all 10 Dawn available.
Yeah, if he has a Mihawk here, that would be absolutely amazing. He's in such a good state in terms of life, so like he can comfortably play the Mihawk. Even if he has just 1 Dawn open, he's completely fine with that. It's not the end of the world. Because next turn he'll have access to it. Even a 7-cost Doflamingo here would be nice. Just like you said, get a body with 7,000 power on board. I think that's what he's looking for right now.
Yeah, because it's going to take a lot of Dawn to get Marshall D Teach up to that speed. Does attach Dawn onto Dofy, which looks like 3 Dawn, right?
Yes.
So
that 8K. Did look like 3 too.
Yeah. Thinking about it. Yeah, Dofy's still in a pretty nice spot with 5 life, but instead of the block, he will just counter.
Yep.
So very smart on, the Law players. Oh, there it is. Virgo is on the board. So as long as that Virgo can stay on the board, it'll be good.
I agree. So it's exactly like what we were talking about. Needed to get that 7,000 body on board, so now he can start threatening that. But to your point, can he keep it on the board? Will we see will we see a jet pistol coming down on him? Because we do know that Laws like to play Otama as well as jet pistols. So let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, having that combo here for Law would be nice. So it looks like Jewelry Bonnie is activated to get a Rush Zoro. So we do have some aggro here. So we could start seeing some Shambles shenanigans happening relatively soon.
Yep. I would say that we are long due for it here. The match has gone on quite some time, and this will be the first time we'll be seeing it. But for now, just going to be attacking with the Zoro.
Really, only the viable target for the Zoro attack is going to be that Doffy. So debating whether or not to take that life or not.
Yep.
And honestly, at 5 life, you know, feel pretty comfortable probably taking it at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
But instead, we're going to see a Love Mellow come out, draw 1 from that. So pretty good play.
Yeah.
While maintaining the 5 life, because we do know that with the proper setup, Law Shambles can get pretty rocky.
Yeah. So finally decides to take a life here.
Yep. And then, is this an attack with the 8 cost kid?
I believe it is, and it does successfully go through. So now we're going to get Shambles technology. There we go. Bring out the Law. Bounce that back up to hand. Will he play the Zoro again? No, he plays the Killer and attaches 1 Dawn. So he can continue to draw. And just like that, it took him the full 5 turns, but he finally was able to do it.
Yep. It goes to Doffy now. This is a bit of an intimidating board, and I think it is a smart play by the Law player to grab that blocker from the Shambles ability. Just because it's less of an aggro deck and more of a sort of mid-range deck at this point.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. So let's see, how does he decide to play this out now? He does have the Virgo, so he goes for Perona here.
Very interesting. So yeah, he can. Well, there's 3 blockers now, so that is a problem.
Yeah.
And he does need to attach at least 3 Dawn onto Doffy to make it an 8 cost or 8k. And then 4 Dawn onto Marshall D. Teach to make it 8k. And that's 7 Dawn already out of your 10.
Yeah.
2 available for Doffy. But, you know, it's potentially necessary.
It's tight.
Also, I forgot that Chopper is a blocker, so actually there's
Chopper's
4.
also blocker. Yeah, so I don't think the attacks are going to go through.
That is rough.
Like, kid with 4 blockers? My God. Like...
Yeah.
I mean, but we've seen it happen before, so I'm not ruling anything out, right? He just has to slowly whittle it down. It is possible. Is it doable? Potentially.
Yeah. I do wonder if... I mean, I feel like he has to attack here just to try and get the blockers out of there. Right? Yeah, like, you have to do something, because if not, like, you're just going to lose, because he'll just be able to continuously swing with the 8-cost kid, so... He has to do something here. And it's very clear that, like, obviously he doesn't have the Doflamingo. He doesn't have the Mihawk, especially Mihawk, because Mihawk would have been played. Right. Could have eliminated, you know, the Killer at least, right? Bottom deck it.
Yeah. Or even the Law, the 5-cost Law,
it is
right?
a 7 cost that it can target. So we are going to see, I think, 3 Dawn attached onto Doffy, making it 8k.
Yes.
And is going to, well, hasn't seemingly declared something yet, is debating whether or not to use the ability, which means that it probably isn't a Marshall D. Teach.
Right. And so it's interesting because he already has 5 characters on board, so he'd be giving up one of his Perona. Obviously, he stacked his deck with the Perona he just used. So I guess whatever it may be, like, it's something that he feels would aid him. Now, I'm wondering if that's a Gecko Moria, so he could pull something back from trash, but
instead it seems like he's about to attach it.
Yeah. See, but that's interesting, right? But I guess, again, it's just to get the guaranteed block. But here he just blocks with Killer, I would assume, and just get the +1.
Right, because the Law player has already shown a penchant for just countering as opposed to blocking.
Yeah.
So, could be... If he wants to try and get rid of the blocker, he does need to add maybe a little bit more gas. The cards have not come down yet since this potential attachment. So we're waiting to see the final result of what might be coming at this Law player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very, very good point you brought up just now, right? The fact that the willingness to just continue to use his hand as a resource, maintain his board. If he doesn't attach enough Dawn, then that attack just goes to waste, right?
Yeah. Because you really need to get a blocker out.
Yeah, he has to. He has to. So it looks like he's attaching a lot more, to your point.
Which is interesting, because then you still need to at least have one onto Virgo in order to even threaten.
Threaten, yeah.
So this is, we didn't see the final number, but this is a lot.
Yeah. I believe it's 6 he attached. I could be wrong.
Right, that makes sense because of what's remaining.
Okay, so there is the Kikomoria, which we thought.
And I can see why you would hesitate with that, right?
Yeah.
Does grab Marshall D. Teach from trash, so can bounce back something later, but the attack is blocked by Killer.
Indeed it is. And now Virgo will be getting the remaining Dawn there, and will be going straight into the face of Kid, and then, like you said, he's using the counters in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, using counters is smart, especially in a Law, because your board state is the most important, and to save as many blockers as possible. I mean, this is very solid.
Yep, I agree. And so now it's refreshed and back over to the Law player. So it's still 3 life to 2 life advantage Doflamingo. But look at the board. Both players have a pretty formidable board, but obviously 8-cost Kid is something that is very, very scary. And so the Nico, sorry, not the Nico Robin, the Nami gets played here. Gonna be looking at the top 5. And what does he pull? He pulls the Sanji, so he's able to get a 2K counter to hand. Attaching 1 over to the Eustace Kid. And I believe he is declaring an attack.
An attack into Virgo. Makes sense. Does have to commit 3k worth of counters onto him.
Yeah, since the Kid is 9k, and then now attaching 2 Dawn to Trafalgar Law, and it looks like he's going to attack with Trafalgar Law.
Is it into Virgo again? I imagine maybe. Oh no, instead it is going to be Gecko Moria, which is pretty nice because it removes another viable attacker.
Yep.
And here comes the aggro.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to look to... Okay.
Whew.
There's another 2 cards out of hand.
2 2k counters in order to keep Virgo on the board.
Oh, he has it.
Oh my God.
He has the starter deck Law. This is the technologies that I've been practicing with a lot. Being able to restand his his Law that had so much Dawn attached to it, and able to get the successful attack off Virgo. So that must feel so bad. You use all those cards, everything in your hand to keep the Virgo alive. And then starter deck Law comes out and just restands, and then now it's just dead anyways.
Yeah, and Law still has 2 blockers there, and I mean, you've removed a very important threat. The only thing that here that could help, maybe a Mihawk if available.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think the Mihawk is the play looking for, and then even then it's like he's gonna be tapped out. He'll only have 1 Dawn available. 3 life, of course, is still formidable, but again, now you have starter deck Law, who's definitely just gonna be used as an attacker now. We see the willingness to attack with blocker Law as well, so you got to be worried about potentially getting into lethal range without any defense.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I mean, we've seen it already where Doffy has kind of faced some really intimidating boards. I think this one is probably the most intimidating because it is very well balanced between defense and offense. So what will Doffy do here? Has to attach Dawn to still just try and get rid of that 8-cost Kid. 8-cost Kid proving the oppressiveness of it.
It's a card that's just, it will always just be strong, man. As long as you can only attack it, it will always be powerful.
Yeah, until we get to OP02.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. So it looks like the 2020 Chopper will be used to block, actually.
Hey, thank you for subscribing to the channel.
Okay, it is. So there goes the 2020 Chopper.
Well, that's 1 blocker down.
Yep, yep.
Let's see if there's any more answers. We do have another Virgo hop onto the
Nice.
board. Obviously can't attack because it is just a vanilla, but still a really great body to, you know, potentially go into it again. So we're probably going to see less aggro from the Law player this turn, unless he just has the absolute gas in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, if I was him, and maybe I'm just throwing the game here, but I would like to see him go super aggressive here. Because I feel like the fact that, now that I know that he's playing the starter deck Law, like, I wonder if he has another copy in his hand. Or if he plays multiple copies in his deck. Because if he does, then, like, things can get messy real quickly. So he's just going to attack with his leader and automatically get a 2k counter out of hand.
Then taps one, then the other for the Jewelry Bonnie.
Oh,
and does get the Rush Luffy.
So good. That's so good because now, depending on the situation, he could easily just yeah, is he gonna go for it? Yes, he does.
Shambles into it. And there's no blocker, so he doesn't need to really attach 2-Don onto it.
Yeah, and then now he takes the hit.
Doffy is now down to 2.
And now the scary thing is, like, as long as he keeps 5-Don open, I'm terrified. And the reason for that is because if he plays another starter deck Law, then the game could potentially be over if he doesn't have the counters. Because I believe Doffy only has 2 cards in hand, right?
Yep. Now 3, because he does take that life from the starter deck. And Law is going for it.
Yeah, okay, this is what I wanted to see, because now it's going to come down to, like, if I'm him, I don't know, this might be throw, but I would attach everything, and just attack
0 life, attaching everything.
Like, you better have the counter. If he has it, he has it. If not, then he can't kill me next turn, right?
That's true.
1,
that's 2.
2,
that's
3.
1, that's 1, that's 1. Is that enough? Is that the math?
I think that is... Because how many is on Law?
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no,
Yeah,
that must have been it, yeah.
Woo! Nice! Well played! The starter deck Law, I love it. That card is so strong.
Is really good. Wow, what a match. That was crazy. Man. So,
and again, we're seeing the power of 8-drop Kid, right? Like, all throughout the day, we've been seeing how strong this card is. I mean, it's no shock to anybody, right? We all know 8-cost Kid is powerful, but again, it just proves itself time and time again to just be a formidable opponent.
For sure.